And now, live from Isolation Station in Burbank, California, it's The Plague, week 24 of the Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Alison welcomes her guest. He's a writer and former MTV VJ and co-host of the podcast Homophilia. It's Dave Holmes. He's a writer for the upcoming show Kenan on NBC and co-host of the podcast Homophilia. It's Matt McConkey. And she's a comedian who has so few possessions, Marie Kondo told her to start keeping things that merely spark apathy. It's Renee Colvert. Tone Zone is here to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty and the American dream, the best is yet to come. JK, we're all in hell. I'm her husband, Daniel, saying hop on board the love bus and say hello to your new best friend, Alison Rosen.
Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison Rosen, Alison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little crawfish stuffed beignets. Welcome to another exciting episode of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. That particular carbohydrate, which I have to say I don't think I would enjoy. I don't need fish in my beignets. But anyway, that particular one was sent in on Patreon. By Mike Polk. And there were a lot of good contenders. There was lemon curd pavlovas, which Jess Flowers sent in. This might be a first, me naming two people and two carbs. But anyway, lots of fun stuff on Patreon. You can suggest the carbohydrate that I will address you as. You can see this very video of what you're hearing right now. Extra bonus episodes, and I've started upping the bonus episodes where I answer all your questions. No topic off limits yet. This past week, you can watch a video of me interrupting myself repeatedly to try to get the mosquito that is terrorizing me. Anyway, all of that is on patreon.com/Alison Rosen. I've started putting my Monday show episodes up on YouTube. So I just had Esther Pavitsky, little Esther on, youtube.com/Alison Rosen. And please subscribe because I'm measuring my self-worth based on my subscribers. Welcome to the show. I would like to say hello to my guests. We have a fun show today. Hello and welcome back, Renee Colvert.
Hello. I've missed you so much. So good to be back.
There have even been some Apple Podcast reviews, and my whole soul wants to say iTunes, but I get that it's Apple Podcasts.
We all do.
We've gotten some Apple Podcast reviews from people saying, "Where is Renee?"
Oh, those
Where is Renee?
Sweeties. Those sweet, sweet sweeties. Well, I'm right here. I don't want to brush over. I don't want fish in my beignet. I feel like that's a catchphrase that you might want to bring back.
That's like a t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
Because
think
there's
about
those
it.
people
I don't know if
who
you're
are
doing
like
merch right now, but
yeah.
Okay.
My merch is in disarray, and I need to get it in array, and maybe that's what I need.
Light it up again. Yeah.
I got a lot of questions for you.
Okay.
I need to know why Tug is at daycare now, what's going on, but we're going to come back to that.
Okay.
Don't let me forget.
Oh, I won't.
Matt McConkey, hello.
Hello.
Then my first time meeting you.
Yes, I'm a fan. This is an honor. Fan of everybody here. In fact, I wrote one of those "Where is Renee" reviews on Apple Podcasts, not iTunes.
Did you write it before knowing that you were going to be on with Renee, or after? Because I think that's important.
Didn't really write it. I was just doing a joke, but I wanted to start a revolution.
Matt, I was doing a joke too.
Oh shit! This is off to a terrible start, Alison. I'm sorry. I'm not normally this awkward.
Do you still want to do the revolution together?
What was it? Oh, yes. Where is Renee? The Where is Renee revolution. Okay. Let's do it.
People want to know.
Let's do it in earnest this time. Okay. I won't fuck it up.
Thank you. Dave Holmes, hello.
Hi. How are you?
Welcome to the show. Now, you've been on a couple times, but you've always been on the Monday interview show. You've not been on the Thursday show where we talk about nothing and also carbohydrates. And also
no,
nothing.
I haven't.
Now you are.
This is very exciting.
Yeah.
And you know what I want to talk to you about right now is mosquitoes.
Let's do it.
Let's get into mosquitoes. So, what?
I was raising my finger like, let's say hello to Tony, and then let's get into mosquitoes. Because there was another episode where it was with Doug Benson and Doug Mellard, and there were like technical issues, and I got so wrapped up in stuff that I forgot to say hi to Tony, and he's never let me forget it.
Come on.
Gotta say.
I mean, technically, you
course.
still haven't done it yet. So,
Tony Thaxton, hello and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for welcoming me to the show. I should be welcoming you to the show every week as well.
Well, go for it.
Welcome to the show, Allison. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'd really like to dive into mosquitoes if we could.
Oh,
Let's
good.
do it.
Okay,
The
great.
time has come.
Yeah.
So I am besieged at all times by mosquitoes. They are indoor and outdoor. They are morning, noon, and night. They're absolutely terrible. However, I have found a product that works. It is.
I feel like I know what it's going to be because people keep recommending it. And by that, I just mean I saw some very passionate stories on Instagram about it. And I went out and got it. If it's the thing I think, and I don't find it to work as well, what is it?
Tell me what you think it is.
The bug bite thing.
No.
Oh.
I don't know what the bug bite thing is.
Well,
What's the bug
fuck
bite thing?
me. The bug bite thing is this little like suction device that
Okay.
looks like a tiny corkscrew almost. It's got these little arms that you pull, and you're supposed to stick it.
Oh, I have no idea what that is.
Stick like the business end of it over the bite, and then pull on the lever, and it's supposed to suck the venom out.
Wow.
No.
It hurts a tiny bit in a way that's like satisfying in the way, because you know how you want to like destroy the bite, but
Yeah.
I don't find that it really reduces the itching. Okay, tell me, rock my world, Dave Holmes.
Avon Skin So Soft.
Stop it right
Whoa.
now.
What?
Avon
where I saw that
Skin
go.
So Soft. There's a lotion. It comes in wipes. There's an aerosol spray. There's a pump spray. My friend Irene White got it from her Avon lady, and she's like, I swear to God, it works against these bugs. I tried it once. It works. I used to get devoured by mosquitoes, and now I don't anymore.
Now, is this-
I've bought it for friends. I have passed it around. I now have an Avon lady.
What?
A lot to digest.
I can't believe they got
Yes.
to you.
Gonna say, you saying that you have an Avon lady, I was like, is this a precursor for, and breaking news, I'm selling Avon now? But you're not.
No.
You're not
No,
in
I'm
with
not.
Big Avon. It just works.
I'm not.
Okay.
I have an Avon lady. Her name is Una. She lives in Sherman Oaks. I go right to her house. She leaves the lotion or the spray or whatever by the flower pot. I stick a check under the welcome mat. I have given Skin So Soft to other people, and it seems to work for them too. I've given Una's information to other people, so now they have an Avon lady. I got a call from her over the weekend because my friend Josh was on the way out to get some Skin So Soft. And she said, "Hello, Dave. This is Una. Thank you for telling your friend Josh about me. Okay, bye." That was the full message. She has a shiny, brand new 5 Series BMW, so she's killing it with the Avon sales. And I love her. And most importantly of all, it works.
I have a question about this Skin So Soft you speak of.
Yes.
Is the mosquito repellent part of it actually something that is supposed to be a quality of it, or is this something that has been discovered by you? Or
Tony, I'm
Right.
glad you asked.
Thank you
I'm
so
glad you asked.
Are you sure you're not
This
selling
is
it?
That's
this is a product. Listen, I'm open to the idea. This is a product that has been found to have bug repelling properties, but it was not the point of it from the beginning. It's only pockets of our country seem to know this. I mentioned it to a friend of mine from North Carolina who was like, "Oh yeah, no, Skin So Soft. We use this all the time." So I forget what the word is that I'm searching for right now. It's incidental to the product itself. The product itself is a lotion to make your skin so soft, but it also repels bugs. And it actually works. And it's like at the time when they're at their worst and I have just applied, I watch as these little bastards like fly up to my leg and then kind of bounce off. Like they don't like it.
What does it smell like? Because is it like it smells so bad even the bugs don't like it?
No. It doesn't smell like bug spray at all. It smells like lotion, but there's some quality that repels bugs.
God.
I need to get this.
Yes, you do.
Should I call
will send
Una?
you Una's information.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know that there were Avon ladies anymore still. I mean, I
You
guess
best
there
believe.
are.
But Dave, at this point, this will be the second person. Like, you might as well open up your own little.
Yeah, I think
unit.
you're a district manager at this point.
Yeah, you need to be in Una's downline.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to
I
say
think you might be
upstream.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll think about it.
If we talk about this long enough, that woman who hosts that podcast, this is a great story, and I'm telling it so well. That woman Jane Marie is going to show up and do a podcast episode on this. She does the podcast.
The Dream?
What is it called? Yes, The Dream about multi-level marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple things about mosquitoes. Tony, can you play the thing that we play, the news jingle, even though this is barely news?
Yes.
It's the news with Alison. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Breaking news.
I don't know if it's saying brings you news or breaking news. This is barely either. But I did once work as a news girl, so I feel that people would expect me to have real news, and this is just something I've just barely gleaned. But apparently the mosquitoes that we have here in LA now are not indigenous to here, and somehow
No, they're
they
Chinese.
got brought. Is that they're Chinese?
Mm-hmm. They came in
Okay,
a shipment
Donald
of
Trump.
bamboo. They've been traced back to a shipment of bamboo 3 years ago.
Oh wow! Now,
Yeah, or maybe more than that, but-
I saw, because I have mosquitoes have now become my passion and my curse. I was reading some like vector control site linked to through Nextdoor, and it has pictures of 3 different mosquitoes which are here now. And apparently they some of them carry West Nile and Zika, and they can give your dog heartworms. So I'm freaked out on like so many different levels. But do you happen to know which one it is that's from China? Because there's like 3 different strains that are here.
I believe it's the tiger mosquito, the stripy one.
Yes, that's what I saw in here. I need to get this Avon Skin So Soft. A weird thing is happening though, which is in my house, I'm the only one getting bitten, and then my husband spoke to our neighbors last night, and the wife is the only one getting bitten, and apparently there's, again, this is tangentially new. Like there's some sort of certain people, I think it's like a DNA thing, maybe, or genetic, have a predilection to getting bitten, and maybe the rest of them are wearing Avon Skin So Soft, or they just naturally don't have this problem. Did anyone else on this show, are you guys getting bitten?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I have, it's not a solution like Dave has, but I have a cautionary tale of if you do get bit. I was laying down on the couch, so head propped up on my back, and my calves were itching so bad. And I have a full-length mirror in my bedroom, which is maybe 10 feet away, but I can't get up. There's I was laying down. So I was like, but I had my phone with me, so I was like, you know what I'll do is I'll just take a pic. I'll just take a quick pic of my legs up and grab my calves. So not only did I have to do with itchy legs, but then I had to do with what that photo looks like in bad lighting. Just covered in mosquitoes, hasn't worked out in 6 months. So mosquitoes and we're really having a time because they've lowered my self-esteem and made me itchy.
Yeah.
Wasn't anyone else?
They go right for the leg.
Thank you.
They do. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm also getting wrist and finger. Those might be fleas. I don't know, but how gross my house and my body sounds. But yeah, I'm getting knees, legs, and wrists.
I'm
what were we gonna say,
getting them. I'm getting them all mostly leg, but was anyone else sold the bill of goods when you moved to LA? I moved here almost 20 years ago. We don't have mosquitoes in California. It was just sort of,
And that
I just
was
accepted
correct.
that
And
as
it was
a
true.
fact. And I don't know when it changed. It was 3 years ago. Oh, okay. So this is breaking news for me.
Yeah, I was having the similar thought because literally yesterday, and to kind of go with what your thing you were saying, Allison, is I was outside yesterday with 2 people that were both females, and they kept talking about being bit, and I was not noticing it.
Misogynist mosquitoes.
Right? And I was having that same thought of, I also don't remember there being mosquitoes here. Like, this is the first year I even remember people talking about it.
Like 3 summers ago, there were a few, then slightly more and more. Last summer, I remember being really bothered by them, and they hung around until like November. Ugh. And this year, like from March on, it's just been unbearable. That is, until I discovered Avon's skin so soft.
Is the
Now
wildest
it's bearable.
promotion.
It's the truth.
I was not aware that California used to not have them. This is what my husband Daniel was saying last night, that the big selling point for LA, it wasn't the film industry and it wasn't the beaches. It was that, and it wasn't that you can drive an hour and you can be skiing. No, it was that there was no mosquitoes. I had never heard this, and I grew up here, but in Orange County, where I feel like we've always had mosquitoes down there. I don't know.
I don't remember. I remember being like, "Oh gosh, this is so nice that we don't have mosquitoes here." So I think
I
think
remember
there might
like
have been a
bragging
time.
about it to people from
Yeah.
Ohio, but I clearly don't know shit.
So, Dave and Matt, you guys host a podcast called Homophilia. How did you
Yes.
guys meet? How did you meet each other? How'd you meet cute?
Well, we were following each other on Twitter and had exchanged Twitter pleasantries, and I was, of course, a fan of Dave's.
And like
I had- That's kind of you, but a fan for what? Nobody knows.
a fantastic Twitter feed at the time.
And I was talking to Earwolf about doing a podcast and wanted to do some kind of like queer interview podcast. Like, what is the queer version of the Mark Maron show? Not that I can compare myself or aspire to be Mark Maron, but that was kind of the general concept. And they were basically like, love that idea, don't love you. What about doing it with someone? And I was like, sure, but everybody's got a podcast already. Like no one's available that who is, a get. And Colin from
This
Earwolf
is a big compliment for you, Dave.
This is literally what happened. Colin suggested Dave Holmes, and I was like, yeah, I love him. He actually follows me on Twitter. No big deal. But he will never do it. He's got like 3 podcasts. He's Dave Holmes. We don't. And then he did.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'd been sort of perpetrating something similar in the back of my mind, and I just wasn't getting anywhere with it because, it was just me, and I was left to my own devices. And then it was like, oh, okay, well, if Colin Anderson wants to put something together with Matt McConkey, then this is an actual show, and we can do it. And we did. And we just had our 3-year anniversary.
Tony, play something celebratory.
Sorry, I was about to. Type.
There you go. There
But,
you go.
the one thing you're leaving out, Matt McConkey, is that you did a show called Rock Bottom that was like a limited run spinoff of Bitch Sesh. It was like an early version of what we're doing now. And it was so good. And the conversations were so like soulful and smart and nourishing. And I was like, oh, I like this guy.
You're very sweet.
And we got, and so we essentially got set up by Earwolf.
How do you feel like you complement each other?
Matt is smart, which I am not. So that helps.
That's not true.
People have
always
already
know
heard
it's
this.
100%
They know
true.
that's not true.
No, it's 100% true. Because I'm always like, there's something I want to know, but I don't have the words or just the like bedside manner to like ask. And I'm like, as I'm thinking about how to do it, Matt's already done it and done it elegantly and beautifully. So
Everything
he's
Dave is
got
saying
a
is
brain on his
nonsense, and I'm telling you this from the depths of my soul that it's
absolute truth.
That's all a lie, and it's the exact opposite. Like
That is
Dave is
the absolute truth.
a natural born host in the truest, in the very best sense, not in a like
kind.
fucking morning radio thing, but he's a class act and can
Thanks.
host and be just effortlessly polished and professional in any environment. And I am a meandering strange person, as you
This is wrong.
noticed.
This is where you've gone off piste here. Matt is absolutely brilliant at asking the right question at the right moment. You are magnificent.
You're very sweet.
Well, it's the truth.
But no, I mean, it is it's one of my longest lasting relationships.
True. Same.
Can I ask you guys a gay culture question? I'm not even sure I'm categorizing that correctly, but I just want to run something by you. When I have an LGBTQ person on my show, and it's a Monday show, my Monday shows, my interviews, I usually it goes fairly deep, and so I oftentimes their coming out story I ask about their coming out story. And I have had the feedback that you don't ask straight people when they realized they were straight. And so my response to that is usually but in this world, I know that coming out has got to be a tough thing for someone to do usually. And if not, that's great. But I feel like that's usually part of someone's story. But I'm wondering, is that question not cool anymore? Should I not be talking about that with someone?
Well, I hope it's still cool because we do the same thing.
Okay.
You are assumed in this culture to be straight. So literally from birth. So when there's when someone's holding a little boy baby, for example, and a woman who is not the baby's mother or any relative is in the room, and the boy baby stares at the woman, everybody says, "Oh, he's flirting." Which, if it were a strange man that he was staring at, and you said something like that, people would be like, "Why are you trying to fuck my baby? Why are you sexualizing a baby?" But it's just it's seen as it's just that is the way that you are assumed to be. So if you come out, you have to, there's decades usually of societal conditioning to get over. And it's a difficult thing. And I think it's such a part of everyone's life, even now, even when those assumptions aren't as widespread as they were.
Okay. Yeah, it's such a rite of
it's an
passage.
Important part of someone's story.
Yeah, we all have that story. Even if your story is just it was super obvious, and eventually my mom just was like, "When are you going to tell me you're gay?" Which is basically my story, But everyone has them, and I don't know. I think we're so. I like talking about it. I love hearing other people's. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it sets the tone for your adult life. You are ending an experience that you have done in solitude, and you're bringing the rest of the world into it. And it's it's a thing. It's an event. So yeah, I don't. Now, of course, you don't ask straight people when they came out because they didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's why you don't ask that.
I do understand the comment, which is kind of why do you have two different tracks of questioning? But I feel like it's.
I don't think that's
not really what it is,
tracks
though.
of questioning.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. You wouldn't, because it isn't it's not a story.
Right.
Yeah. I think you keep on asking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That you've received our seal of approval on that one. So yeah, you can throw that in their faces.
The hosts of Homophilia are fine
Yes.
with they're encouraging of my line of questioning. So I will stick with it. Thank you guys.
Goddamn right.
Very
Okay.
much. Thank you very much. Now, I was listening to your episode with Byron Lane, and you read an Apple podcast review, I believe,
Yes.
where someone was like, "You can tell that you guys love all your guests," and you said, "Well, not all of them." And I was just obviously, I'm not going to ask you to name names. Question: since all of us host podcasts, I'm wondering if it's the same for all of us. What would make for a bad guest or a guest that you wouldn't love?
I'm just thinking of the one main person that we probably hated the most, and just what was it about that person?
Yeah,
and other people, other guests that have felt like them.
Yeah, there have been a few, and I think it's. There are different kinds of podcasts, right? Ours is conversational. We want to, it should be the same whether it's a super duper huge star or just kind of a regular person. It should feel like we're all sitting around a table, having cocktails and, and just talking about stuff. So I think if a guest comes in expecting it to be fresh air with Terry Gross and like us to have analysis of their work or whatever, and are put out when we don't, then it's difficult to get started. But that's not the point of the show. You know what I mean? And always, it is the people who you've never heard of who get their nose out of joint when you aren't familiar with their body of,
Their oof.
Instagram videos or whatever. You know what I mean? And
I will say,
and like we had Matt Bomer and we sat and talked for an hour and a half and had a ball and never talked about white collar.
Halfway through Matt Bomer's interview, I was like, and it's cool. He was talking about like Marvel movies, and I was like, it is cool to me that you've never gone the superhero route. And he said, well, I do play a superhero on a show on the DC streaming network that's airing right now. And I was like, sure. Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, well,
and he let me off the hook because he's Matt Bomer. He doesn't have anything to prove. But I will say, I think very generally speaking, YouTubers tend to be a difficult popular, I just can't speak their language, and that's on me. I am a grandma, and I don't understand from whence they came, and they feel the same, and then some.
Yeah, and it's I will second that. Only for a lot of reasons, but mostly because YouTube people can't not speak in bits. They're just they tend to be always on because that is, if they're in front of a microphone, they have to be always on. And it's like, and everyone I guess is to a degree in the entertainment world, but that's such a specific kind of being always on. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't lead to good conversation. Am I right, Matt?
Yeah. Are we going to get doxxed for saying that?
No. Not at all.
Yeah, probably. Bring it on.
When someone is unhappy because you haven't analyzed their body of work, and how were you aware that this person was upset?
You can tell when somebody's carrying themselves like they're on their Oscar tour.
Yeah.
And it usually is somebody who's, done 3 significant TikToks in their career. And, they really want you to know about it.
And when people start sentences with the word again as like a little passive aggressive line,
Yes.
they say again.
Yeah.
It's that, but it's instead of again, it's as you may have seen in People Magazine, as I said on my podcast, it's the implication being like, you idiot, you should know all of this because I am who I am.
Do you ever accidentally say something? Not something. I don't think you could accidentally be like, well, as I mentioned in People Magazine, but I mean like just starting something with again. And then afterwards you're thinking about it and you're like, fuck, I'm so, that I accidentally sounded so bitchy. Do you ever? I do. That's the kind of thing that I'll sit there like worrying about years later.
Yeah, I just did that in conversation a couple of weeks ago. I said, like I've said, like 3 or 4 times. And I didn't mean it like to repeat. But I was going over some stuff, and I wanted there were a few major points that I wanted to underline, and I did it by saying as I've said or like I've said or whatever, and then I was like, oh, I hope that the person that I'm talking to doesn't think that I think he's wasting my time.
Right.
I didn't.
And then
it was just a figure of speech that I over relied on.
I sometimes wonder, then should I say something to them? But I know that's delicate because I feel like that can make it worse or more awkward sometimes.
Yeah. You mean when you're the person who is getting the again?
No, when you agained someone, but you didn't mean for it to sound so bitchy, but it did.
Got it.
But you worry it did.
Yeah.
I do that in text a lot. I will circle back to something, and because there's no nuance, there's no tone of voice, obviously, and I'll go, ooh, that sounded terrible, and then I'll over-explain it, and the person inevitably is like, oh, didn't read it that way at all.
It's fine.
Yeah, got it.
Yes.
You're fine.
Same. Renee,
Yes.
Tugboat and his new daycare life that I've been following along on Instagram. What's going on? Are you
Yeah.
actually working somewhere now?
I
Like in an
am.
office, I mean?
Oh no, not in an office. So now I want to say how great Homophilia is. I also think it's so great. If Allie Ward was here, I would be like, I am in a room with the three best or best interviewers in the biz. Like, you guys, you're so good. I'm telling you, it's this thing about just being curious that I feel like nobody else has mastered. Either somebody's like trying to be razzmatazz, or they're trying to impress their guest with a question. And you guys keep that a secret, because that's how you stay the best, I think. I haven't mastered it. I haven't figured out how to do it. But
And we want to say how great Renee Colvert is. She is our new producer as of a few months ago, and it's not that we had bad times with our previous producers. However, this is night and day. Like, ooh.
Game changer.
Yeah, absolute game changer. And
Sweet,
a delight. A long-time delight.
She's kind of Jerry Maguire'd us, Just stepped in and scrubbed us up real good.
Yeah.
exactly, a lot of swinging a fish around. It's a whole thing, but we're going to get up there. Yes, so I'm working from home, and like you can see, is such a sweet little sweetie.
Oh,
just
he is
just
worn
tuckered
out.
out over there, just tuckered. So, but I cannot tell if he is genuinely hot when I take him on a hike, or I have spoiled him so much that he knows that if he throws himself to the ground, he will get carried the rest of the hike. And it's not good for my back. It's not good for him. It's not good for the people seeing us. So I am 3 blocks away from Griffith Park, which is just a dream in and of itself. But I got a buddy over here who's a sprinter, not a marathoner, and he just doesn't like, endurance sports. So so I am getting frustrated because I like endurance sports and I like hiking, and he's getting frustrated because now he's getting dragged up a mountain. So it's just like, yeah, okay, we can't be yelling at each other first thing in the morning. So I have now sent him to a daycare, which, gosh, I feel like we all know each other at this point. The kiddos who do Hollywood Handbook, Sean, his dog Bosch goes to this daycare, which is all the way in Culver City. And I know for people who aren't in Los Angeles,
it's far away.
But there's no traffic right now. So this will be absolutely right, absolutely unsustainable once traffic picks back up. But for right now, it is this lady who has turned her house into a dog daycare, and there's a pool. So Tugboat gets to take himself on a little swim on a daily basis, but he's also a goddamn class clown in that he just, I think it's a combination of like he had a really rough start. So I think he does have anxiety, but then he looks the way he looks so he can get away with anything. But the last daycare that he was at, the first picture I got is he was just hanging out the window of the house. And I was like, they're not supposed to be in the house. They're supposed to be outside. But I guess they let him in the house. And then he was just jumping in and out of the window. And they were letting it happen. And it was fine. Then they finally closed the window. And then the next text I get from the lady is just like, he lifted the window and let all of his friends in. So just...
Wow.
but it hasn't gotten himself kicked out yet. So we'll see. It's real...
I love this.
Real entertaining and fun for me. I don't know if it's fun for the daycare lady, but it's fun for me.
I love that Tugboat, who is like, what did his result end up? He's pit bull and he's border collie,
Sure.
right?
You know what? We're thanks to you, thanks
And my
to
embark
Alison
code.
Rosen promo code. We've got it's in the mail. Before that, I was using Wisdom Panel, and Wisdom Panel said 75% pit bull, 25% something fluffy. So hopefully, Embark can help out a little bit.
Well, what I was going to say is, again, what I was saying. It's amazing to me that your dog, who's like a rugged outdoors dog, is not athletic enough for you.
Yes. Well,
No,
and yes. What do we think, Dave? What are our thoughts on this?
No, I was just going to say dogs are not great with conservation of energy. Finn is very much the same way. If Ben or I goes running with him, he sprints for a mile and then he can barely keep up for the rest of it because he's just so excited to be out there, and he can't. I mean, and we can't communicate to him that we're going to be out here.
You got to pace yourself. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just a general dog thing.
Oh no, I call myself the queen of segues, and I am.
You can do it.
Oh, this is my favorite kind of segue to
You
just
got this.
sort of sit in it and acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Speaking of running and fitness and stuff like that, whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, not what your roommates, neighbors, significant others are listening to. Everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds, but before you drop hundreds of dollars on a pair, check out wireless earbuds from Raycon. You already know Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and that they sound just as amazing as other top audio brands you know. Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit. They're super comfortable. Perfect for conference calls or binging podcasts. Unlike some of your other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet, with no dangling wires or stems to distract anyone during video calls. The company was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Melissa Etheridge, Alison Rosen are obsessed with Raycons. Now's the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/bestfriend. That's buyraycon.com/bestfriend for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/bestfriend. Now, here's where that segue wasn't up to my usual ones. At the beginning, you probably thought, oh, she's going to do like some fitness thing, but it's not. So that's on me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little. Yeah, it was a little. It wasn't completely bad, but it wasn't like I was about to talk about like workout equipment. Well, I guess you could say it is workout equipment.
You are a little bit.
You could
and
wear
I'm glad
them for
that you hit
workouts.
on it. Because, like, I love that you hit on the discretion of the product. Because I know when I'm working out and somebody says, "Oh, what are you listening to?" and then I'm like, "Oh, they noticed that I have earbuds in."
Yeah.
I'm humiliated.
It's
I'm
so
humiliated.
embarrassing.
I hate it. There's nothing worse. So, yeah, it's good that this is a discreet product.
Exactly.
You
so,
nailed it.
Tony. Oh no, what were you gonna say, Renee?
I was going to just compliment your transition and say a transition that you know is coming isn't a good transition. You got to twist it, and you did.
Thank
so
you.
good job.
Thank you very much. Now, Tony, well, I'm putting him on blast, but he was excited that Dave was coming on. And Tony and I have pretty similar, I feel like, we kind of grew up around us in a similar time. Tony, did you used to watch Dave in his VJ days?
Oh yes, for sure. Yeah, that was. Let's see. When did you start? Was that 97, 98, something like
98.
that? 98. Okay, so
yeah.
I was like 2 years out of high school. So I was like, maybe slightly older than the target audience, but right in that wheelhouse, pretty much. Yeah. So definitely.
Well, I
a lot
was
of that.
way older than the target audience. It's so strange to mix with people who are grown-ups who say things like, "Oh, I watched you when I was in 7th grade," or whatever. Like that to me is very strange because now we're interacting as adults.
Mm-hmm.
What is even stranger is, or like being in meetings, like pitching to people who like watched you when they were 12, and now it's like you're like, "Will you please buy my show idea?"
Yeah.
What's stranger now is the people I'm pitching to are like, "What's MTV? I don't know what that is." You know what I mean? Or like,
wow.
is that the network that Teen Wolf was on or whatever? It's like now it's a whole new group, like people who whatever.
Does that worry you?
Long story short, thank you for watching. Pardon me?
Does that worry you? Like, what is my question? Like, is it weird? Was that this sounds like an insulting question. I'm concerned that sounds like insulting that I'm saying, like, was that like a feather in your cap to be able to go in and you were someone that they were familiar with because you were an MTV VJ, and if they're like, I don't know
Right.
what that is.
Yeah, no, but it definitely does. It makes you very aware of your mortality, for sure. It makes you very aware of the passage of time, you know?
But I also
But
do
yeah,
feel
no, I'm
like
not bothered.
are people who did not grow up watching and understanding the importance of Madonna and Michael Jackson and Prince music videos and everything, the culture around it, if they don't have that history, are they worthy of just being here,
Do
just
I
being
want to
alive.
trust them with my show ideas?
don't.
No, of course not.
Should we stop? Should there be a cutoff where just no new people?
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my good friend Scott had a pitch a couple years ago, and he in it he referenced the stormtroopers from Star Wars, and the person he was pitching to was like, I don't know, I haven't seen that, so what is that?
Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
Which, like, come on, if you're going to
Yeah.
be in
I feel like
television
that,
production, you should.
Sometimes I feel like those people are like faking it though. Not even necessarily in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Star Wars instance, but
Right.
like they're trying to like, oh, I'm too
Yeah.
cool to even know what that is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
gay friend
Or like,
who's
how good are
cool.
you at explaining it to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And but I think you're right, because I have a gay guy friend who's like way too proud of the fact that he's never seen Sex in the City. And it's like, it's not that is not, that in itself is not a personality. Like, no, you know,
Right.
like he
Right.
thinks we're all going to be like, wow, you are one in a million. How did you miss it? Like, you don't know what it means when I say like, she's such a Charlotte. That's crazy. And it's like, even if you didn't watch it, we all know what that means
Yeah.
by now. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
can
you've taken
point
enough of it in
references.
just through cultural osmosis.
You know what a Star Trooper is. You know what a Carrie is. And you should know what a
Yeah.
Dave Holmes is.
Thank you.
Here's one
Sure.
that I was baffled by, and it made me feel old, although I don't suspect that anyone was trying to be cool. Back in the Adam Carolla show days, one of the younger people who worked there had no idea who Christy McNichol was. Does everyone
Yeah.
here know who Christy McNichol is?
Yes,
course.
but not super well though. Like I'm more familiar with the name. I can't pinpoint her though.
Try.
I mean, she was an actress.
Ding.
Well, wait until you get it, Tony. Try.
Yeah, I believe she was a sitcom actress, but I do not recall what show she was on. Am I right about that part at least?
Yeah, well,
Sort
yes.
of.
But that's
Yeah.
not what the main thing that she's known for. It was like, was it 70s or 80s movies like Little Foxes with
Little Darlings.
Little Darlings.
Little Darlings. With a young Cynthia Nixon to bring it all full circle.
Oh my
Okay.
God. Full
Here we
circle.
go.
Young Tatum O'Neal.
A young Tatum O'Neal.
Tatum O'Neal.
Also
But what was
appeared in
the-
Sex and the City.
What was the other one? The other movie, not Little. Oh, maybe it is Little Darlings that I'm thinking of. But there was like Fox
Little
Force
Darlings.
5, which
I don't
was
know
the
what that
name
is.
of. That's a reference. That's but she
Isn't that
also
in Pulp Fiction?
was it.
Ooh.
What's the thing that Uma Thurman's in Pulp Fiction?
Oh, I can't remember.
Fox Force 5, yes.
Yeah.
Fox Force
Oh.
5, yeah.
There you go.
Catch
I
up.
think my wires.
The
are
joke
scrambled.
is, the punchline to the joke is catch up. I wasn't telling you.
Oh, okay. I was like, I deserve that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Tony, she was also in Empty Nest.
Oh, okay.
Maybe what-
Yes.
Yes.
Was she in
But
Age
she
is
started
Enough?
in... No, she was in Family.
That's what I mean.
I weirdly.
You were saying she started in something.
I weirdly have.
Yeah, an hour-long drama.
I do know because I actually have. She has an album with her brother Jimmy.
brother.
I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
I have it. I've never listened to it, but I have it.
Wow.
You should bizarre
Great.
albums that.
Oh yeah, it's on the list.
Put it on
Is
the
it bizarre
list.
enough?
I don't know. I
don't know
haven't
if it'll be
listened yet,
bizarre
so-
enough.
Yeah, we'll see.
Wait, so
I am
who,
so-
who dared not
go ahead,
know
Ray.
her? Sorry, Dave. Sorry.
No, you
I
go.
can't remember if it was Kaylin or Gary. Just a couple of non-Christy McNichol guys. Let's do
Ridiculous.
an important segment now. This is where I bring up something highly, highly controversial. And then we weigh in with a yes, please, or oh, please. This is not a segment for fence sitters. We're looking for hot take. We're not looking for sometimes. We're not looking for maybe. We're not looking for I don't have a strong opinion. We're looking for strong opinions of two varieties. Yes, please, or oh, please. And
We're
there's
looking
a
for
jingle.
strong, polite opinions.
He said, yes, please, give me some of that. Oh, please, that's much crap.
All right. The topic at hand, again, highly controversial. I hope no one gets canceled. Dots candy. Now, the way this came up was, and this might tip my mitt a little bit, but my husband and I were talking about, no, you know what? No, I will share it. I'll just let you know. I'm a very much Oh Puhleeze person. We were talking about we were talking about getting candy at the movie theater and how they had dots usually. And then it's like, who orders dots? Who wants dots? And so then I've been thinking a lot about dots because I posted a picture of dots on my Instagram. And I'm like, did you know anyone who's into these? And so many people were very yes, please about it, which is shocking to me because when I think of dots, I think of like rock hard. Just that's what I think of. Rock hard and like they're a clump. And you're like, well, I could go for one. I'll try it. And like an hour later, you're like, you give up. I'm very, very Oh Puhleeze on dots. And I actually looked up a little info about them, which I'll share after. Anyone else care to weigh in? Who wants to go first?
Oh, sure, I will. No, get him out of here. Absolutely not. To the point where back in the day where you'd go trick-or-treating and they were in the house and that was the only candy left, you just go without candy. Because it's not candy. I am such a sweet tooth that if it's, I also don't love the sweetest fish because they're not sweet enough. I need my teeth to hurt after the first bite, and they don't do that for me. They're not sweet enough. Too hard, not sweet enough.
All right, so we got two Oh Puhleezes. Matt?
I'm a full Oh Puhleeze with you. First of all, not entirely sure what they are. Secondly, pretty sure that they are a fruit or tart or like based candy, which to me categorically is bullshit.
Oh,
That's
are
a
you chocolate?
Controversial thing. I'm chocolate. If it's
Or
not
get the
chocolate,
fuck out?
get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, Dave?
Yeah, I'm in the Oh Puhleeze camp on this one as well. I don't mind like a sweet tart or a spree or something like that, but these essentially just are reconstituted Swedish fish, basically, right? Like
Thank you, Dave.
they're somewhere between a gummy bear and a Swedish fish, but in the shape of round, and they're just not that great.
There's a lot of besmirching of Swedish fish. I'm pretty into Swedish fish, but excuse me. So they're not like. What is happening?
Oh no,
I'm having a full meltdown.
the mosquitoes! They're coming back.
So I just want to say I think Swedish fish are better than dots, but I hear what you guys are saying. Tony?
I think I'm a little bit in Matt's boat on this because I'm not positive I've ever had them. I've definitely seen them in the store a million times, but I can't recall ever eating them. So by these descriptions you guys are giving, I'm going to go with Oh Puhleeze.
No.
'Cause, yeah. Why? Nothing sounds good about that.
What do you think it says about me and Tony that we're both like, don't know what they are, don't like it?
Yeah,
I've never seen it. I don't want it.
you means you're decisive.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Or does it say that you're followers? Because if we were all like, oh my God, they're so great, they're the best, they're delicious, I ate them throughout my whole pregnancy or whatever people say, then I feel like maybe you wouldn't be so decisively against them.
I would be more open-minded toward it, I think. I mean, I think I would still try them no matter what just to see. But I don't think I've been in a scenario where someone said, hey, want some dots?
Right. Go to my Instagram. There's Allie Ward, who you mentioned before, the aforementioned Allie Ward said her father loves them more than her. People, there was a lot of like, yum. There was a lot of love for dots. So I read about them. By the way, why am I yelling? I don't know. I'm just getting very...
No, it's a passionate
getting
topic.
passionate.
Your tone is correct.
passionate
you
about
found the right.
mosquitoes, and I'm passionate
Right,
about...
The question is, why aren't the rest of us yelling more about them?
Thank you. So they call themselves gumdrops, and to me, a gumdrop is covered in sugar on the outside. So
Yes.
they're like shaved gumdrops. And because they're in the cardboard box, they dry out really quickly. And the article
Yes.
I read, I believe it was like in Mental Floss, said that if they were in some kind of foil packaging, they would stay fresh for a lot longer, but the water content evaporates really quickly. So I don't know. Maybe I've never had a fresh dot.
I was
Perhaps a
going to say,
fresh
so
dot.
we pleased to packaging? Is that what we're really mad
We
at?
are. I guess like if they're, straight from the conveyor belt, then they might be better or different. I don't. But to me, that's still fuck off with your dots.
only ever had them at a movie theater in
Right.
that context. Also, I remember there being a black licorice one.
Yes, those
Like
are called
there's a black
crows.
one that tastes like
or black crows?
Well, no, one of the colors is that's in the world. Oh, okay.
There's a
like
product.
green and red and yellow, but then there's also a black dot that's in the assortment.
And there's
And it just
you're
really
telling me there's
sticks
a
out.
spin-off dot called Black Crows?
Yes, or possibly. I believe that the dots are the spin-off crows. The black crows came first, and they are licorice-shaped dots, licorice-flavored dots. And there's some question about whether they're dark purple or dark green or actually black. I'm telling you,
Weird. Wow. Okay.
there's a lot to get into when it
know.
comes
Lot going
to
on.
the sordid world of
Sorry.
dots. Okay,
Sorry
and
about
now,
my dog.
oh, that's
It's all
okay.
right. Mine did it last week.
Okay. All right.
And mine's about to.
How is Moose? How is Moose? That's for public consumption, right? That Moose has a bit of an attitude these days.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say an attitude, but a little bit more of an attitude than I had gotten for the first 5 months or whatever it had been. Because she's so mellow and so sweet, and then it's just been all she really knows is me and her in our place, and now. There's suddenly a new lady coming around sometimes, and
Oh boy.
she's noticeably jealous. She's not mean about it. She's always like excited if she comes by, and she'll always pet her, and they're fine. But like if I try to sit next to her, then Moose will jump over her to try and get in the middle of us. And she's had a few accidents on the floor lately, which she hadn't done since like the first 24 or 48 hours I got her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Drama.
Yeah.
Getting told. Don't care for it.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? I feel like what's his face, Cesar Millan would have all sorts of advice, but I feel like he's been. I feel people aren't into him anymore.
No? Does he
Did
just
he get canceled?
No,
little.
he didn't get canceled, but I think in the dog training world, he is not revered in the same way he is in the like. I've just heard dog trainers say negative things about him.
I feel
Maybe
like
that
Renee
hasn't gone
knows
wide.
what's up with the season.
Yeah, I think he would still imply some punish-based training, and we're now finding that reward-based training works better for humans and adults. Like, don't shame doesn't work for anybody. So if we can find a way to treat your way into good behavior, then that's probably better long-term and for mental stability.
Yeah, that was one of the things recommended to me was just doing the whole treat thing a little more often, of just like kind of helping build up her confidence, get her to lay down and shake and all the normal things you get them to do, but maybe do that a little more often and reward her, and that'll supposedly help boost her confidence, and little things like that, so I'm told.
It's very sweet. Back in the day, the year was 1843. I was still kissing people, and I had a new beau that I was kissing, and Tugboat, and we're engaged in what we're doing, and then all of a sudden we just hear like the slightest little. And he had put his face right up there to be like, I mean, obviously we're adding me at some point, so
that's so
it
sweet.
was delightful, just the best. But that's the most Chelsea's ever
He's
been.
telling me you both obliged.
Obviously,
good.
we took turns. The night got wild, but no, it was just. It is interesting how that adjustment is an adjustment for them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's both frustrating and adorable at the same time.
yeah.
Renee, I didn't know you were kissing anyone.
That again, the year was 1843. You recall? Honestly, when was that? Oh no, that was
haven't had
3
Tugboat that
years
long.
ago.
You've had
It was
Tugboat for
3 years ago. Yeah.
Oh.
Can you believe that? We just hit our, because it was soon after I had just got him, and he was just like, well, all right, here we go. I know. David, Matt, I think you know this. Listeners of the show know this, that I am on a 2-year hiatus of aggressively not dating. And I moved into this place calling it a husband trap. That was my whole thing. I was going to do it, and I was going to be it. And now I still don't want to. Do you think it'll ever kick back up for me? Will we ever want to date again? I mean, it's a weird time to try right now, but
Yeah. I think when this is all over, it's going to be a free-for-all.
yeah.
You
Should I wait for
I
the
really do.
free for all? Yes.
You might meet someone and then realize. I feel like probably you'll meet someone and that will pull you out of it more than just feeling receptive to it. Because I was on a hiatus when I met Daniel, like a pretty staunch hiatus that had stretched on for years.
Right.
And I remember feeling worried about that. When I broke up with the boyfriend that had kicked off the hiatus, I would go into a restaurant and I would see couples sitting there and I would think, oh, thank God I'm not in a relationship. Like, oh, thank God I'm not part of that. And that seemed a normal feeling at the beginning, but then it kept going on and on and on and on and on. And I was like, when is this feeling going to go? When am I going to stop being relieved that I'm not doing all of that?
Yeah.
And then I moved back here. I was living with my parents again, commuting to work. Well, at the beginning, I didn't have a job. And then I was just like, I'm the world's biggest loser. And then, not the show, just an actual loser. And then I started commuting to work and my life felt very not on terra firma. I just felt like I'm in the midst of this humongous transition. It would be terrible for me to date someone. I met Daniel. We were just friends. I told him I think we should be just friends. And then and then we kissed one night and then we've been together ever since. But I think it didn't come from me being like, now I'm ready to be in a relationship again. It came from me feeling like I just don't want to stop talking and being around this person.
Yeah. Well, because Tony's been really inspirational in this, like hearing his story and so many stories of like finding your person in pandemic just because you've got that highly concentrated time together. And so I will, finish texting with him and be like, I'm doing it. I'm going to get in. And then I just can't get on the apps. I'm like, I don't want to.
You keep telling me September. You keep telling me that you're.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well,
September sounds right.
Does that seem about right? Is it time for love?
Renee, just give me the login and I will handle.
All right, you swipe for me. Take care of
Yes.
it for me. All right. But I am inspired by both stories, both Tony and Allison's. I'm going to wait for it to show up, and then maybe I'll hop online.
Are you on the apps and you just so you'd have to see for me? I mean, not that I'm doing this right now, but having to set up a whole thing that is a whole thing I don't want to deal with.
Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't take that long.
It doesn't? Okay. In the old days, it did. In the old days, there was 1,000 questions. And I'm not talking about eHarmony even. I'm talking about the Onion personals, Spring Street Network, or even OkCupid. I feel like you needed a whole headline.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really
It's 3 questions, right?
done one ever until this year. So
And now is it just a photo of yourself and that's it?
no, there was a few questions that you could answer, but I don't even think you necessarily had to. There were a lot of options. It wasn't like you had to do everything. I think there's a certain amount of things you have to do, but you can choose to do more or less. I kept it pretty simple.
Matt, are you in a relationship?
I am. We are approaching 7 years.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of like you met Michael, my boyfriend, when I was very much not looking for a relationship. Honestly, I had just gotten out of one not that long ago that was the guy was emotionally abusive and full sociopath. And I was just kind of coming out of that thank God that's over. And I'm just going to frankly hook up with a bunch of people as sort of just a palate cleanser and a revenge thing almost. And met Michael online, kind of thinking maybe it would be that, but we ended up going on a real date. And, he was like, I just got here from Canada. And I was like, I'm going to lock you down before you realize how hot you are. And I did.
What about you, Dave? I know you've told me the story of how you met Ben, but remind us, were you looking for a relationship then?
I a little bit was. I mean, it was 15 years ago. So I was, whatever I was, 34 or whatever. So yeah, always. And we met online. We met on Yahoo Singles, which I don't even know. I guess I too was just out of a relationship and I had forgotten that I had a login, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to log in and see what's what. And then there was this adorable blonde boy playing instruments. I was like, okay. And then we went to the other room on Abbot Kinney and hung out and started talking, and that was that.
There you
These are
go.
good. These are good success stories.
Yeah.
I like it.
But also,
All right.
I feel like, Renee, you're in the right headspace because when you genuinely are not looking is when it happens.
That's when it happens.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take it. My therapist, this was a while ago, through this question, she's like, anytime you are having trouble with a decision, put the offer out there. So if I were to say to you, well, do you want to be married with a backyard? If your answer is yes, then you're not confused about this. You want it. You're just nervous about the process. So
Right.
let's focus on the nervous element of it, which is probably true. But I think I also just really like living alone for a second. I'll get
It's a good
into it
feeling.
in a minute.
And it's a good skill to cultivate being
Yes.
alone,
Yeah.
you know?
Wait,
And
I
if
want to
you're handling
understand what
it
your
now.
therapist says. So when you're
Yes.
trying to figure out, like, if you feel like, oh, I'm so indecisive, then
Yeah,
just
so-
say to yourself, do you want
Right.
this
So,
thing.
like in the past, Alison, you've been like, God, do I want to just be a therapist? Is that maybe my second career? So, if I were to say to you, great news, you've got a thriving practice. Do you want it?
no?
Okay. Then there's your answer. See? So, I think it's the element of like, give yourself the option of it successfully
Right.
is what will make you be like, oh, fuck, yes, I do want
Right.
that. Okay.
That
yeah, does that make
That
sense?
kind of goes straight into this thought experiment that I wanted us to do. And that makes it sound
Fuck
like I
experiment?
looked a thought experiment. Wait, what did you think I said?
It really sounded like you said this fuck experiment. that I wanted.
All right.
This
I'm
is
so
a
sorry I
fuck
didn't warn you what the
experiment.
show
Oh
was,
my
guys.
God.
Okay.
No, it's a thought experiment. It doesn't even involve
Okay.
fucking. It is a thought experiment. Now, thought experiment, it makes it sound like I like looked this up in some psychological book and was like, no, this is just something I was thinking about earlier. And then I thought, I've said too much. I'm just going to get into it. Okay. If you found out that what you are currently doing in your life, and I mean it in a career sense, but really it could be in any sense, was actually exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and I will explain, would you feel relieved or would you feel disappointed? And the reason I was thinking about this was, and it's funny, Renee, that you said my questions of like, maybe I should be a therapist, which just speaks to my whole like, what am I supposed to be in this world thing? I was a writer before I was anything, and I worked at magazines, and I've always felt like that's probably actually my true calling. Like my real talent is in writing, and I got to get back to that at some point, or I haven't like done enough with that. I have, blah, 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 blah. Maybe, and then I was thinking, but what if really I am supposed to be a podcaster? Like that never quite occurred to me. Like what if this is actually the best use of my talents? And so if I found, if like whoever's God on high, which I don't believe in, but if someone was like, yes, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Like, would I feel relieved or would I feel like, oh man, I felt like I was destined for more than that. So how would you guys feel?
It's a good question. Well, how do you feel if it were a podcast?
Yeah.
If that was your destiny, how would you feel about that? I'm giving myself more time to think as I ask.
Yeah, no, I
No,
know.
I had the same question.
I think maybe today I would feel relieved. I would feel like, oh, I am doing then what I'm supposed to be doing. Because I feel like this time spent on all these like sliding doors realities of the ways of what I could have done or should have done is just sort of it doesn't feel good to think about really.
Yeah.
And there's,
Yeah.
There's actually time, in theory, time to do everything. And, we all have multiple careers. So today I think I'd feel relieved.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think I would mostly feel relieved because, yeah, kind of like you said, I do lots of different things, and a lot of times, new exciting things pop up here and there that still kind of feel like that's what I'm already doing. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that would feel good because I feel like it's open-ended enough for me in my scenario that I may be enjoying what I'm doing, but then there are also still some parts of it that are exciting that are coming up. Maybe, or maybe not.
What do you think, Dave? I feel like maybe I've crafted this fuck experiment in a confusing way.
No, I don't think so. I think I would be a little disappointed, only because I like everything that I'm doing, but I'm doing a million different things right now. And I'm putting energy and attention in a lot of different directions with the idea that one of them at some point will be the thing that I do. You know what I mean? And I don't know that I've found the thing that I do yet. And I don't think I want to be, a 65-year-old who's got, 15 hustles. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I would like to settle on one thing, go wide and deep with it. And that's my thing. I enjoy all the things that I'm doing. And so it's hard to pick just one, but the idea is that something will catch fire and then that's my thing.
Is there a particular one that you want most to be the thing?
Oh, wow. Yeah. What I want is a life that doesn't necessarily exist anymore. Which is, I would love to move into like the Dave Barry space.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And just write columns and, 2-3 times a year there's a book out and it's just like, oh, I have an idea. And then it's like, and then I sit in my cabin and I write it out and I live in a quirky town in Vermont full of eccentrics and a wise old dog and all of that. Like I want that sort of life, but I don't know that necessarily that exists anymore.
Right. It's a good question. Did it even exist for a lot of people? Like the professional syndicated humorist. There's Dave Barry. There's
Mike Royko. There's
Carrie Bradshaw.
Jimmy Breslin. There's Carrie Bradshaw.
I'm not familiar. Who is that?
Of course. Say it again.
There's like most of the panelists on the game shows of the 50s, 60s, 70s. There was that kind of, Bennett Cerf and shit like that. Like there were all kinds of, and then they tended to work for, a publisher or something like that. But you could be like George Plimpton or Calvin Trillin or whatever, and like go on talk shows, and then you have a book every so often.
Right.
And I don't necessarily know that that's true anymore, but they didn't have podcasts. So
It's true.
That's true. But as you're saying that, Dave, I was thinking but you kind of are living that life. In a way, all of us are in quarantine. We are all in our own little cabin in Vermont.
Right.
But I do believe I just had a great therapy sesh today, and thing we come back to a lot is imagine yourself 5 years ago seeing where you are now and how good it would feel and how optimistic you would be, and how can you bring some of that into the now. And I definitely think that applies to you, Dave.
Okay. Thank you for that. I will take that note.
I love that we're pooling our therapy. Our therapy
exactly.
advice.
Let's just bring it all
Takes a
together.
village.
Everybody, what did you learn this week?
I haven't seen mine in ages and I can't wait.
Are you doing remote or no?
I will be doing remote. I stopped for a little bit, but I'm about to start up again, and I'm very excited.
But if you want, I could just keep seeing Dr. Barry, and then I'll just check in with you and tell you what he said to me.
I think that would be great. We'll do both.
We'll do both.
Perfect.
Everybody wins.
Matt, what about you? The thought experiment.
I would definitely be relieved because, kind of like you, I've had, I wouldn't even call it a career, but I came up as an actor. I was a theater major in college and moved out here to do that, and had this just decade plus of circling around that. And it was so painful for all the obvious boring reasons. But through failing did sort of stumble in back into TV writing, and I'm happy doing that now. That of course has its own version of everything Dave is saying of there are a lot of irons in the fire. You do want one thing to kind of go wide and deep. But having had something that sort of defined you, and then having to make the choice I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to pursue that anymore. That's not going to be my label anymore. is so like embarrassing in ways. And so if I were to learn that this was not, that I was supposed to be doing that, and I had already, pivoted 5 years ago, I'd be like, oh, fuck. I have to go back to that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to do a little bit of just me or everyone?
Wait, did we get Renee's answer?
Oh my God.
Oh, so sorry. Yeah, well, listen, I didn't raise my hand. That's why.
No.
You got to raise your hand
No,
if you want to
that's-
get called on.
This is not a hand raising situation. This is we ask everyone, and I shirked my duty. Thank you, Dave.
Sure.
okay.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you.
all right.
Gosh, it is. It's such a good question. I feel like I'd be just a little disappointed, not with homophilia. It's the dream job, that element, but that's only
Likewise.
like 3 or 4 hours a week. Everything else is kind of like cheerleading and helping everybody else do what they want to do. And I think I'd be like, oh no, it's true. I'm just a cheerleader. I was never allowed to be creative. So if I can just find something that makes me a little bit more creative, mwah, what a gift! What a gift that would be. But I think that's just tweaking the actual job itself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does. Yeah, it's interesting to think about. All right. Let's
Here we
do
go.
some just me or everyone.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
Okay, this is the segment where people write in with things that they do and they wonder, is it just them? Is it everyone? And then we weigh in. And if you would like to submit your just me or everyone's, tweet them to @ARIYNBF and use the hashtag JMOE, stands for just me or everyone. Okay. Vanessa Williamson says, after years of singing along to a song, I never bother to learn the lyrics and instead keep singing gibberish. Sometimes I do that, but then eventually I will become conscious of the fact that I've been doing that, and I'm like, I got to find out what the lyrics are. That's how I do it.
I do a version of that.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. Just not know what it is, and then a lot of times there'll be like one day I'll hear the song, it's like, oh, that's what they're saying in that part. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Danielle Lynn says, draft my email in its entirety and review before putting the email addresses in the to line on the off chance that I would accidentally hit send early. Yes. Not always, but oftentimes if I'm writing an email, like I'll put the name in the to field at the beginning, and then if I'm writing it and I realize something will make me realize like, oh, it'd be very awful if this got sent prematurely. So then I go take it out.
Yes. We talked about this, severely dyslexic. And so there's, and inevitably, if I put the little emails in there early, there's going to be a typo. It's a guarantee.
I've never done this, but I'm going to start. That's very smart.
Yeah, it's
I've never
pretty
done it
good.
either.
Yep. I do what I do if I'm sending, especially if I've screen grabbed something and I'm like forwarding that text to somebody else to, talk shit inevitably. I look at it before I send. I look at the name that I'm about to send it to, and I say it 3 times in my head. Nigel. Do I want to talk shit about that person, Nigel? Yes, I do. And then I send it.
Wow.
It's the best practice I've heard.
Yeah.
I years ago when I was living in New York, I don't talk about it often, but I did live in New York. I was there was this guy that I liked, and I had an email exchange with him. I don't know what the details were, but I was talking to another friend about it, and I sent the other friend an email, and I was like, he said, and then I quoted him, but I sent it to him by mistake. And
You don't want to do that.
no, but thank God it wasn't. It could have been so much worse. It could have been like, what do you think he meant by that? And it could have had like all sorts of detail. But instead, then I'm like, oops, I forget how I even handled it. But it really didn't blow up in the way that I thought. But I felt like my skin was on fire. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Terrible. feeling.
I was just going to give more examples, but we don't need them. We get it.
Have you done
We
this?
understand. I but got very close. Over the weekend, there was a little like ways to know if someone is a narcissism, ways to know if someone is a narcissist, and nearly sent it to her. Nearly.
Oh, God.
But whew.
Wow.
Just
But honestly,
barely,
you
just
might have
barely.
helped her.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I don't think she would have known. I don't
That's right.
feel
That's right.
like she would have
That's
been like, well, it doesn't apply to me.
Right. She just would have thought it was about someone else. You guys both
Right.
know. Andrew Ant says, when an accident closes 3 or more lanes and the backup is 6 miles, I always say there better be a fatality to make this worth it. I don't think I have that one specifically.
No.
But I can understand. Well, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. I think that person's a monster.
Might be just you.
Okay, Phil Scroggs said, when I walk through a park or grassy area, I always look down so I don't accidentally punt a honeybee hovering close to the grass. I've never even thought about that. I'm sorry, bee
Me
friends.
Me either.
But good practice.
what a
We're
good
learning
person.
so much here.
You know, I think I've only been stung by a bee once or twice when I was like under 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I feel lucky.
Yeah,
When was
I'm
the last time you were stung?
I'm the same boat. I was probably even younger. I don't even remember it. I've just heard the stories. So I literally don't even have any clue what it feels like.
Isn't that funny? I was also young. Why did they go for kiddos?
Well, I think I accidentally stepped on the bee. So you'd think I
Yeah,
really
kids
would
are
do
reckless.
what he's talking
Oh,
about.
because we're fucking with them. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I
probably
was
was.
just telling this story the other day. The first time I got stung by a bee, it was probably 6. And it was like, it was a neighborhood party and all the adults were inside and all the kids were just running around in circles outside. And we disturbed a beehive somehow. And a bee stung me. And I was like terrified of the idea of bee stings. And the bee stung me and it hurt a little, but it wasn't that bad. And I was like, oh, that's what a bee sting is. Like, okay, I got it. That's fine. I'm over it. Very Peggy Lee, is that all there is, right? So I was like, okay, fine, I've done it. And so I mentioned that to an older kid, this girl, Amy, who was like 2 years older than me. And she was like, oh, that was your first bee sting? And I was like, yeah. She said, okay. After the third one, you die.
Oh my God.
And I was like I really freaked out because I believed her because she was 8 and I was 6.
So cruel.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I think she probably believed it.
Kids are such
Probably.
monsters.
Yeah.
But also, your threshold for pain at 6 is really high. Because
Yeah.
Well, also bee stings aren't that bad.
they
Wow,
are.
Dave.
They're very bad.
I
Very
remember
mask
being
of
like,
you.
I remember thinking, oh, this is really, really uncomfortable. Like it's burning. It hurts pretty bad.
Yeah.
That was my reaction.
Yeah. This
Tough
one wasn't so bad.
cookie.
I have a small low pain threshold. I'm like, I got a tattoo on my back that's like this big and took 5 minutes and thought it was the most excruciating pain that anyone has ever, suffered through.
I wish there was a test that we could all take that would be like, oh, you have a high threshold or you have a low threshold. But for Dave, with you, because you run marathons, does that hurt?
Yes. A lot.
Okay.
It's
So you
terrible.
can feel pain. You're capable
The
of it.
last one that I did LA and then I came home and we had a loose there was like a loose step on on the steps going from our bedroom to our backyard. It's like a wooden deck steps and I had driven myself home and I was hobbling my way to the pool to like relieve the pain and I disturbed the loose step and I stepped on a rusty screw
Oh my God.
into my heel after having done a marathon. And I was like, that was one of those pains. Like usually foot, like if you stub a toe or something like that, it's that slow moving pain that like you can feel going up your body into your head. Because my body was fully exhausted, it like took forever. I was like, this is going to reach my head in like 45 seconds. I hate this so much. It was really bad. It was really
Did you get a tetanus shot?
bad. No, I didn't.
Do you have tetanus?
No. I'm all good.
Dave, after you step on 3 nails, you die.
That's right.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You guys, this was so much fun. Thank you
Wasn't it fun?
so much for joining me. I would like to say hello and welcome to the new patrons, including 2 whose names I feel I mangled last week. So they're getting a redo. Welcome, Kate, Shonda, Carrie, Allison, not me, different Allison, Shmoo, and Rayma. Again, patreon.com/Allison Rosen.
Patreon.
I'm on Cameo. I'm on Cameo, cameo.com/Allison Rosen. And subscribe to my YouTube, please. It's newly revamped, youtube.com/Allison Rosen. If you like what you're hearing here, download, click, rate, review. It helps out the show, etc. Tell your friends. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram @Allison Rosen and listen to Childish. Dave,
Yes.
plug whatever you would like to plug and tell people where to find you.
I am on Twitter and Instagram @Dave Holmes. And I mean, Homophilia is the podcast. It is on the Earwolf Network. New episodes every Thursday night / Friday morning.
Wonderful. Matt?
I would also like to encourage people to listen to Homophilia, and I'm on Twitter @Matt McConkey and on Instagram @Matt McConks. Is that my?
I think that sounds right.
Yeah, that
sounds right.
Seems
Yeah.
right.
Renee?
Well, I also want to plug Homophilia, and I'll have you know that if Allison and Tony weren't here, I'll plug whatever I'm part of. And so if you guys weren't here, I'd be plugging yours too. But it's just so I don't think we ever talked about like the concept of the show. And so I think the thing that they do so brilliantly is they talk about what you're loving and who you're loving. So it's masterful what a therapy session each episode is, in that they like loosen people up, all their guests up, and be like, just tell me what TV shows you're watching, so everybody feels comfortable. And then they're like, no, tell me about your love life, and you get everything all in one episode. And it was my favorite show before I started producing it, and it continues to be my favorite show today. So it's a
We
favorite
love
to
you,
me,
Renee.
and a favorite to you. Rate, review, and subscribe.
Thank you.
Homophilia. Okay, that's it. Now I'm done.
And also, can I pet your dog?
Oh, sure, and Dog is also good.
And Tone Zone?
My podcast, Bizarre Albums, every Tuesday, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram @Tony Thaxton. That's it right now.
And I got super audio nitpicky over the weekend and made Tony do extra mixes. And so thank you for putting up with me, because I felt like I was a little bit, I was like, annoying. So thank you.
You're fine. It's all good.
Thank you. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. I love you. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Alison Rosen is your new best friend.